Hello, my little piggies. Welcome back to I Am a Bit of an Expert, a Peppa Pig podcast. I'm your musical host, Josh Chapman, and on the other end of the line is my more musical host, Matt Frost. Hey, Matt.
Good evening, Josh. How are you?
I'm good. I can tell you're excited about this one. This is right in your wheelhouse this week, isn't it?
For a lot of different reasons, actually.
So this week we're on musical instruments. Now, let's not bury the lead, mate. You are a musician.
I'm an amateur musician. Yeah.
Amateur musician, but that's all right.
Yeah, hobbyist.
Hobbyist musician. I have a lot of musicians in my extended family. I was a little bit of a hacker and back in the day. Don't really do much these days, but my brother was a semi-professional musician. He had albums out and things, and my dad still plays in bands, and my sister is a very highly graded pianist, and I've got cousins who run a music festival, and other cousins who are in bands and are singers and things. So I've got a lot of music in my family. So we've always had a lot of instruments and things lying around.
Yeah, geez, that sort of made me seem a bit.
Well, I'm not much of a musician though, so out of the two of us, you're much more accomplished. And of course, we should actually, which we haven't mentioned before we go any further, is that you have done all the music for this show.
Oh yeah. Sorry, the intro theme sort of, little few samples and me playing some stuff over the top of it. And yeah, obviously the outro song is just a bit of a humorous
Slow
take
jam
on the most iconic Peppa song.
So I don't actually have, because I do have the recordings that you've sent me, and I think they're about a minute grabs of them. Is there the 12-inch version? Is there the full single version of those as well? If we ever want to release them on Bandcamp or Spotify or something, or
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's the dance sort of, the extended remix 12-inch. Yeah.
Yep. White vinyl, single pressing.
Yeah, picture disc. Small sizzle. I am working on something in the background for the pod.
There you go.
Yeah,
you heard it here first.
Yeah.
So, what goes down in this episode, Matt? Kick us off.
So, it's not really too much of an episode. They just bring out a bag of instruments and play with them, don't they?
Daddy Pig finds a box in the attic.
Yeah.
For some reason he's crawling up around in the attic. I think that's the first time they've mentioned the attic. We've kind of talked about the geography of the house before, about sort of where everything lies and things. I think they do go back up there in subsequent episodes, but I just sort of assume it's like The Simpsons when they go into the attic and there's all the items from previous episodes all stacked up everywhere, little Easter eggs and things, but I could be wrong. So Daddy Pig kind of just chucks down this dusty box and pulls out a bunch of the weirdest collection of instruments that none of them really go together though, do they?
They're quite folksy instruments. I would
like
say.
He was in like a little folk duo or something like that, or
the Pogues, maybe.
Or he was in Arcade Fire or something like that. There's a violin and a drum and a trumpet. Maybe he's in a band with 12 other people, Arcade Fire style. An accordion, that's pretty common for them. Yeah, it could have been the Pogues. Geez, you wouldn't want to end up like the lead singer of the Pogues.
Yeah, Shane MacGowan. Yeah.
He's done it pretty hard.
Yeah, it's a cousin pig. Turns up and it's voiced by Shane MacGowan, and he's got no teeth and
propping up the bar.
Yeah, it's swigging from a bottle with 4 X's on it,
living off that one Christmas song still,
Yeah,
still pays the bills.
Oh God, that's a bit rough. Shout out if you're listening, Shane. I love you.
Yeah, they are still a cracking band though. But like when I lived in England, it was every year. It was like, can they get that song to number one?
Oh yeah. It's a magnificent, fairy tale of New York's a magnificent Christmas song. But God, they've got some. It's always
the thing because the Christmas number one is such a big thing in Britain as well. So
it is, yeah.
It was always, but it kind of got hijacked by the X Factor, the talent show.
Oh yeah.
And so it kind of lost its I don't even know if they still do it. Actually, I'm sure they still have the number one, but I don't know whether it still is a big deal with streaming and things these days. And does that still count? I don't know.
So what's your second favourite Christmas song? If we probably agree that the Pogues is the most magnificent song, but
that's a very good question. And I should know this because we're not far removed from Christmas. But this is really
I'm talking pop singles here. So
yeah, I mean, like you can't really go past Mariah Carey. Obviously, that's the most danceable one.
well, I can dance straight on past.
That's certainly after a few drinks and things. What is it? The Sweet? Suede. Is it Suede? No, not Suede. There's another. Oh goodness, I've just fallen off the thing. It's sort of like that 70s British band. They had a good Christmas song as well.
That's probably more likely to be the Sweet.
Yeah, I was thinking not like ballroom blitz.
That's the Sweet.
That's the Sweet. We're certainly falling off the Slade. Merry Christmas, everyone. And here it is. Merry Christmas, everybody's having fun. Don't know that one?
That's a good one. Yeah, good choice.
I always quite like that one.
Mine's probably Last.
There's also Last Christmas by Wham as well.
Yeah, that's probably mine. Yeah,
which is a very good song as well. But I never really went for the "Do They Know It's Christmas?" The Band-Aid. It was always a bit.
Yeah, no, too much Bono. But
too much Bono. So anyway, Daddy Pig pulls out an accordion, a violin, a drum, and then like a trumpet or I don't know what that. Do you know what that instrument actually is?
I don't think it's a.
It's almost like a horn, like a Viking horn or something.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I don't think it's I don't think you can assign a name to it. They certainly don't.
Look, I'm sure that there is one, but I'd have to do some searching to try and find that. I hadn't done that much research and things, so
it makes a horrible noise.
It does. So Mummy Pig grabs the violin and has a bit of a crack at it. Now, my mother actually learnt violin for a little while, so I instantly remembered that as a kid, but didn't really take. So I think there is still a violin. My parents have a music room in their house because Dad's a musician. So when they built their house years ago, they put a soundproof music room under the house in the basement. So there's like a proper, you can crank it up to 11 and it's reasonably soundproofed.
That's awesome. That's a better use for a basement than most people use it for.
Yeah, for putting the dryer down there or something, or basements aren't very common in. Yeah, basements aren't very common in Australia, so they've actually built it. It's sort of just under the main part of the house, sort of on a hill. But so there was a violin in our house. I think there still is there at Mum and Dad's. So they sort of they have a little bit of a crack. Pepper and George have a little bit of a crack on the violin, having a bit of a whack on it.
Oh, and just quickly, yes, that's what I learned. That was my first.
Oh, really?
Instrument. Yeah. So I passed a music test drawing a line to Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. You had to draw a line along to the music, and then I got allocated a violin, and I hated it. I didn't hate it.
And I'm a virtuoso.
Oh no, I didn't hate the instrument, but I hated my teacher. I only lasted a couple of terms, and that was when I was 10. I didn't pick any music up again until I was 19. But
wow.
But that was me, violin. So
now, the thing that when they're banging away on this is going to be a really Australiana reference here, and it's going to be very, very niche. But when George is banging on that violin, you must have seen the movie Young Einstein.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Now, which is an Australian classic if you haven't seen it. And there's a moment in that where Albert Einstein, who's a Tasmanian apple farmer, and he discovers rock and roll. It's a great watch. Where he's sitting in a bath playing the violin. And then he basically stops and he bounces the bow on the violin and goes dung 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 dun 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 dun. And he plays "Satisfaction" by the Rolling Stones, and then he goes dun dun. And he hits too hard and he goes dun doing, and the whole. And that's exactly what I thought of when I thought of that. And I haven't seen Young Einstein in 30 years, I reckon.
Do you know why you would have remembered that bit more than anything else?
Why
Because
is
it
that?
was the start of the film clip for Rock and Roll Music.
Why Mental as Anything.
Correct?
Which I had that soundtrack on pink vinyl.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Which is probably still at my parents' house, speaking of. So I could, next time I'm down there, I'll take a photo of it and I'll put it on the thing. So international listeners won't know what we're talking about probably. But it was the pink vinyl, all Australian lineup. It had it had Mental as Anything on it. It had Icehouse.
Paul Kelly.
It had Paul Kelly. It had The Saints as well.
Correct. Yeah.
Big Pig. God, I can't believe I'm remembering this many of them.
Big Pig's debut album was called Bonk.
Yep. So really good Australian collection of songs for that, and it was a very, very popular movie. But that's basically immediately what jumped into my mind. I would love to rewatch it. I would be worried that it's terrible, but I have a feeling it would probably hold up pretty well, especially as a period piece.
Oh, it's a historical film. Like, you know, it's basically revealing that a Tasmanian apple farmer invented rock and roll music and put bubbles into beer. It's
and the theory of relativity.
Exactly.
And splitting the atom. And that's how he put bubbles in beer, by splitting the atom. Actually, that's a bloody clever movie, actually. We'll go back and watch that. I wonder if it's on Netflix.
Join us for our new podcast, Young Einstein, Minute by Minute.
Yeah, minute by minute. Oh, wow. That'd be very niche. Very, very niche. So Peppa pulls out the drum, and this is the sort of the second time in 3 episodes, she's got the drum out again. And there's an interesting bit in this where Daddy Pig pulls out the accordion, and then of course he plays the romantic, like you're
beautiful.
sitting in a Paris square, having a coffee and wooing your other half. But Mummy Pig says this is what he played to me when we first met.
Oh, how beautiful is that?
But we know that they went to playgroup together as children, so continuity error.
The Peppaverse is complicated, Josh. We find out in later episodes how much Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig know about the arts in general, and it's quite wonderful.
They're quite cultured people, actually.
They are quite cultured for
pigs
and for pigs, and I think it's wonderful that he plays the piano accordion, because that is an instrument that has the smallest margin of error to go from wonderful to absolutely frickin' Satan playing it in hell awful.
Well, I always think of Weird Al when I think of the piano accordion.
I think of my next door neighbour back in my hometown, who used to pull it out every Christmas Eve when he was drunk and play it, and not good at all.
I would like to. I reckon I would like to learn. I'd like to be able to play the piano accordion. I don't know. There's something quite daggy about it, which I quite find amusing. But yeah, I don't know.
I think I'd rather play the kazoo.
So they all have a crack on the piano accordion. Peppa, the horn gets about 10 times bigger than it was when Daddy Pig pulls it out of the box.
Yeah,
so he pulls it out of the box, and it's about the size of a violin. And then when it comes out of the box, it's about as long as the couch.
Yeah, you got to turn that physics radar off, Josh.
Yeah, it's that physics radar. So they all have a crack at the horn with no luck. And there's a nice little piece of animation actually where all their faces go bright red while they're trying to get something out of this. Get something out of this horn. I was thinking of the John Lennon quote, where he says, "Well, I'm an artist. Give me a trumpet and I'll give you something."
What a wanker.
So they all have.
I really loved about that animation, like you said, when Daddy Pig blows, his tail goes like this, like his tail quivers
Oh
because
yeah,
he's
it does
trying so
vibrates,
hard.
doesn't it?
Yeah,
He's lucky he didn't pop his ears or his eyes bulge out of his head
I
or
was
something.
I was laughing so hard, and I was yelling out to Karina, "Look at his tail!" Like,
There are some nice little animation touches in this one. So they basically decide to have a little jam sesh, and Daddy Pig gets on the accordion, Mummy Pig on the violin, Peppa's hitting that drum, and then of course on the setup, poor old George is feeling a little bit left out, but
no
it's
tears.
all set up no tears. He's all perfectly set up to have a crack at that horn, and he basically absolutely gives it a rip.
Yeah, it's quite wonderful because like it's very much like woodwinds. You need to have the technique and blow right to make it sound right. I know nobody could get anything out of it, but my our little Sabine's a music explorer. She goes to music exploration every week, and so they try all different instruments. And she's quite a gun on the reed. She
Yeah, it's all about where you place your mouth, isn't it?
Yeah.
And your lips and where the air comes. Yeah, my dad plays saxophone. It's all about where you put your lips and your mouth on the reeds and things. And
yeah, she's blown the sax pretty good. She's
so little
had,
Lisa Simpson.
My favourite video, she has a real good go on the trombone. That's that's pretty cool. So yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so it's good to see little George just show a bit of natural flair and get a bit of a sound, albeit a horrible one, out of the.
It's a bit of a brown note, isn't it? Like the wall starts shaking and the.
So it's not a blue note. It's a brownie.
Yeah. And then just before they get the family band, and then they decide to subject the neighbours to the noise, and they march out the front door, and then continue to make their racket outside. So I mean, they seem to be reasonably far away enough from the next neighbours, so they probably aren't disturbing anybody too much. But still, it's probably travelling along those hills.
Well, they're a long way away. You've seen those 45-degree hills. Like, there's nobody hearing them up there apart from the birds. So
well, there's no hills behind them though. It's always sort of to one side, so the sound could always travel.
Yeah. It's funny. There's a picture on their wall in one of these episodes that shows several hills with houses on it, and it's just. I wonder if that's the village. I sort of seem to think everyone's on their own hill. Yeah,
it's a pretty good distribution of property out there. There seems to be enough for everyone.
A lot of acreage.
Although I'm pretty sure there's an episode where the mole family come in and they build their house directly under the rabbit house. I think like they just go directly underneath because they're moles. But I think we're a long way off that one.
Yeah, gee, that's a bit of foreshadowing.
It is a bit of foreshadowing. So a fun little episode. Nothing too groundbreaking, but it's nice to see a little bit of musical stuff in there and get a little bit of background into Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig's, love for the arts, as you said. Anything else to take home on this one?
I think it's another one like the last week we spoke about the ducks. The ducks play a bigger role later on, and so does Mummy Pig's musical and artistic abilities. And there's some great musical episodes coming up. So,
yeah, especially when Daddy Pig rocks out.
Oh, once he gets on those drums, which is where our intro comes from. So. That's
right. Well, we'll get to that when we get to that. So, thanks again for listening, and get us on the socials at Peppa Pig Pod. You can leave us a review on iTunes, bump us up the rankings. Everything's going along very nicely. Drop us a line. We always try to reply on the social medias and stuff. So, thanks from my end. Anything from you, mate, before we sign off?
No, just thank you very much to everyone who listens, and thank you for everyone that interacts with us on social media. And where are we on the ranking of Peppa Pig podcasts in the world?
Well, I think we're still in the top 2. I think the other one from Japan hasn't put anything up for a while, but I'll have to double check. But you never know. As soon as you get some traction, all the imitators come out of the woodwork.
Well, look, I'm happy with the silver medal. So yeah,
that's a good way to be. All right, mate. I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, Josh, and good night, little piggies.
Yeah, we're playing it down and was singing a song with a bang and a bong and a bang. Bong, bang, boo, bing, bong, bing, bing, bong, bangly, bongly, boo. Bong, bing, boo, bing, bong, bing, bing, bong, bangly, bongly, boo.